Photography as a language, as an art practice, is so varied and rich, and there's not an excessively long history there, not in the scale of painting and other arts, but still it's over 200 years old. And so it's important in that sense for education of the arts, of photographers, to know what photography has been, not only what the newest technology is, and what is alternative or not alternative. At some point, everything that we could say that is alternative has not been alternative. It has been the dominant process. Things only become alternative when they become no longer in use, no longer dominant. So digital is now the dominant way of making pictures, and thus it's not alternative. There are so many different processes that are part of the history of photography, countless processes, and they all have their own unique capabilities, very unique traits to each one of them. And I think for contemporary artists that might turn to those older media, it's a question of why to turn to those materials. And I think one of the greatest reasons is to say, well, there are specific possibilities with these materials that cannot be accomplished, cannot be explored in any other set of materials. And often those are traits and things that historically were never explored because there wasn't a reason to, or that wasn't the main function of that process.
The result, I think, has more soul. It has more character than a digital print that you can just, you can print off 20 in an hour and bag them and put them up in an exhibition or something.
And someday digital will become alternative to what we don't know. But in another way, nothing is alternative. They are all simply different possibilities. They're all simply different means of making pictures. And to say alternative means to situate one thing as the primary way and everything else as other options alongside of it. And so maybe alternative is not the best even term to describe it because it says that digital or something else is the primary one and the others are peripheral to that.
Discovering alternative processes and going back into the history of the medium and exploring things like, salt printing and platinum, palladium, working with collodion. I mean, there's been a massive resurgence of interest in all of that, in addition to 35mm film. And I think that's a direct reaction to digital. Unquestionably, we're assaulted by images on a daily basis. I think there's something like over 1 million images that we see in Western culture a day.
And I never work in one process alone, or think about isolating my practice around a certain technology, but always think about what the subject I'm exploring is and what kind of relationship could be founded between a material, the process, and the site that I'm working in, the subject that I explore, and what would be an interesting relationship that could happen there.
So digital printing is really quality exhibition level photographic printing, but I think what's been lost in many ways in the technological age of photography is the handmade result, the tactile experience of making a print. And the print, according to Ansel Adams, was it's the sort of the performance of the score, and the score is the negative. And so photography traditionally had always been concerned with the ultimate result being a print, and I think that's really been obscured and lost in the Instagram age, and alternative processes is a direct reaction and a return to the traditional printmaking craft of the medium.
The presence of alternative process is important to retain for that reason, to hold on to the diversity and richness of what photography is, not only what it has been, but what it continues to be. It's important to say that it continues to be one of those things.
Taking pictures?
Yeah.
How?